remember a few weeks ago when Jaylen Warren was just kind of messing with everybody and put on social media that Justin Fields was being seriously considered to return kicks? Remember that? Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers that will entertain no such silliness. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Between now and, next January, it's going to be a thing as to how Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith might utilize Fields. And you know what? It should be. If when you arrive at a stadium and everybody gets dressed and everybody goes through that tunnel and takes their place out at the sideline for the national anthem, if one of those 53 people happens to be either your best athlete or one of your three best athletes, it's probably incumbent on you as a coaching staff to find a way to get this young man out there participating. It's just common sense. Step back from it and think of it as Class A football in the WPIL. You have your very best athlete. You don't overthink it. The very best athlete does everything. They have their hands on the ball all the time. They're out there for every snap defensively. They're out there fielding kicks. It's just how it goes. Well, the NFL isn't, quite that. But the principle applies, and it should apply. And no, before I get to how it could apply, the Warren thing never had even the smallest semblance of reality to it. He was just playing around. Or as Fields himself, to his credit over the past week, joked when he was asked about it, he said, I'm not here to do that. But what is he here to do? Meaning in the 2024 NFL season. This is not a normal backup type situation. It's just not. This isn't I'm saying this respectfully, obviously. You guys know my history with Mason Rudolph, but this isn't a Rudolph type situation where he's just kind of in the background, can't do anything else, learning in practices, studying hard in the film room. And when he gets his chance, he gets his chance. Because, and Mason would tell you this himself, he couldn't contribute in any other way. He's fast enough in certain ways, definitely not so fast that he could be some kind of gimmick player for you. Different somewhat from whoever the starter would happen to be, but not so different that he would throw the defense some kind of great big curveball. Fields can do that. And my belief is that Fields will do that. Russell Wilson himself has acknowledged that there are plays being designed that are being designed specifically for Fields. Now, what do they look like? Are they all going to be runs? Is he going to be turned into some kind of Taysom Hill type? I don't know. I do know that Tomlin has had a history of at least acknowledging wanting to do things like that. He wanted to do that. Actually tried it on a couple of occasions, you might remember, with Josh Dobbs. Although you'll also remember that Dobbs would come onto the field, everybody would think he's going to run, and then he would throw, and everybody would go, ha, 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 we got you. But maybe that in and of itself offers some kind of element of extra surprise, or dynamism, unpredictability. And I like that. I like that idea. I like even more that Wilson publicly was okay with it as well, because I think it'll make the Steelers a better football team in 2024. But also for another reason. I think it could make the Steelers a better football team in 2025 and beyond. And you know what I'm going to say now. Because if Wilson has himself a year, regardless of the fact that he's 36 years old, because quarterbacks just don't have ages anymore, he's going to, and I mean rightly so, earn himself one monstrous payday. And it might not be in Pittsburgh. As such, if you're the Steelers, you don't like to be using regular season football for tryouts and tests, but how are you really going to know, how Fields fits with your offense, how much he can offer your offense, how much he might have grown from a lot of the mistakes, especially the fumbles from his time in Chicago? unless you let him play. Unless you let him play some of the time. You don't have to split it. You don't have to count snaps. There could just be a certain point in a game where maybe Tomlin, maybe Smith says, listen, we need some kind of spark. We got nothing going here. They've got us solved with this, this, and this, or we're just not getting the energy or the juice that we need up front. Let's just try something completely different. And if you do it in such a way that it doesn't involve, some massive controversy or question over who's the starter, because that's how things were over the last couple of years. If Kenny Pickett came out and got replaced, it was, oh my God, look what they did. Mitch Trubisky goes out there, he gets replaced. Whoa, what are they doing? You don't need to do that if you just make it part of your offense. If you make it clear to all concerned, and I'm only talking about on the inside here, but the outside gets affected too, that this is the way this is going to be between these two quarterbacks. Great. Do that. Make the offense better. Raise your awareness of what Fields can do. He's still so young. He still has so much natural physical talent. He does have 3 years of experience of starting in the league. Check all the boxes. Check them all. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, LGKG is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents people hurt in car accidents or who need help with workers' comp or medical malpractice. When the attorneys at LGKG make you a promise, they keep it. They've been keeping promises in our region for over 80 years. LGKG's been AV rated, the highest rating a law firm can receive, and they've been designated super lawyers. That's actually a thing for over 15 years. It's a rare combination. LGKG has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them by visiting lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. LGKG. Today's J1Q comes from Brian, who says, DK, I was hoping you could give a breakdown of the running back room beyond Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. Seems to me that this is going to be a run-heavy season, and you have to assume an injury along the way. Is Cordero Patterson anything more than a special teams guy, for example? Brian, it's a good question, and it's one that's not going to have a great, certainly not a definitive answer until we get to Latrobe and start seeing the way reps are split up. My initial inclination, as far as a fair answer to what you're asking, is this: I wouldn't worry about it. And that's because I believe that if either Harris or Warren was to go down, you would not see whoever number 3 or number 4 is come in and take any significant reps. What you would see is either Najee or Jaylen just be the running back. So start with that. The next thing I would throw in is that whoever is going to be the 3 in this setting isn't going to be lining up as a conventional running back, isn't going to be just taking somebody's place in the standard backfield. It's going to be someone like Patterson who can line up all over the field. It's going to be someone like Connor Hayward who can line up anywhere and threaten opponents in different ways. Same with Patterson, incidentally. Now, if I'm looking for substantiation to that effect, I'm pointing out that Patterson last year in Atlanta, with Smith as his head coach, did run the ball 50 times for 181 yards and a touchdown. That's not nothing. However, he's 33 years old. I don't know how many miles they feel they could add to those already worn treads. I'll also point out that LaMichael Perrine is in the fold, and while Perrine wouldn't be anybody's idea of a frontline running back in the NFL, he did, with the Chiefs, make a start in a game that meant next to nothing, the end of the regular season against the Chargers, and he ran 21 times for 76 yards. And I'm going to repeat here, that was an NFL game. and he was a prominent part of an NFL game. So he's probably, and if this is what you were asking me, above anything else, this would have been my best answer. He's probably that guy who would be next in line. But if everyone's ready to go, hey, it's just going to be the big two. It is. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.